Welcome to the first episode of Sort of Extraordinary, and I'm joined here by my guest, Lee. Lee, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Well, hello, listeners. This is Lee coming to you from Tennessee.
Nice. Lee from Tennessee. That is amazing. So, Lee from Tennessee, what we're going to talk about today on Sort of Extraordinary is the Alaskan ice monster. And I've got a couple questions for you because Lee from Tennessee has worked in the government, but not just in the government, kind of behind the scenes in the government. So she knows some things that maybe the rest of us might not know. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions if you don't mind. Are you open to that? Hello?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm open to that, but my identity must remain.
It's always going to be Lee, and I'm not going to talk about your political, anything about your, just that you have that experience.
Okay.
So that
Well,
people,
well, with that in mind, I think I can answer the questions for your listeners.
I appreciate that. Okay, so the Alaskan ice monster was discovered by Craig, who is the publicity affairs manager for the Bureau of Land Management in Alaska. Okay, so first question that I want to kind of get out of the way. Does the video look like something that could be faked?
Well, I mean, I would say, unfortunately, I grew up in the era of reality TV, and we have evolved to the age of unreality with AI, with special effects. I have seen things with my eyes in movies that are unbelievable. Now, I don't think they have a special effects team of Hollywood quality in Alaska. Who knows? Maybe there are some very talented people there, I'm sure. But the video looked legitimate to me. Um, I would not want to be in the water with that thing.
I agree with you. 100% I agree with you. And so a lot of people don't know, and when I started doing some research on this attracted my attention. This video is from 2016, by the way. But so it's been on my radar. I saw it and I thought it was crazy, and I kind of forgot about it, and I've come back to it, and I did a little research on it, and this part of Alaska is known for a lot of things. There's a lot of anomalous events that take place in the area, not the least of which is UFOs. And then there's also, and I might pronounce this wrong, Liamna Lake Monster. So there's another lake monster in that area. Cryptids, ice gnomes, like I'm very interested in that. I'm probably going to do a follow up on the ice gnomes of Alaska. But it is something that with all those other things that are involved in that area, that could be a possibility. Let me ask you this. So the Loch Ness Monster, this is one theory that people have floated. Is it possible that it's a creature like the Loch Ness Monster, or the Loch Ness Monster but possibly migrated to this area? And I looked it up, and I looked at the maps, and honestly, like, I didn't even understand what the maps were. So I don't know if it's a possibility, but is it something that could be something that migrated from somewhere else? I mean, it has ice on its back, so it seems pretty specific to that area. What do you think about that? That maybe it's something that migrated from somewhere else?
I mean, we do know that creatures of massive size have great capabilities for migration, right? And that area is full of massive mammals that migrate every year down the coast. A lot of them calf in the South America area. So, large animals are capable of traveling vast expanses in the ocean fairly quickly and regularly. So I wouldn't say that it would be unheard of for a creature of that size to migrate from one area of the world to another. And as you consider climate change, the changing of the temperatures in the ocean, the melting of the glaciers, maybe something has been down there at the bottom of the ocean sleeping and has been disturbed or thawed by things that are changing there. And maybe that didn't even happen there. Maybe, like you're saying, it happened in another area of the world, but this thing has now made its way to Alaska.
Yeah, very interesting. That's an interesting take, and it's something that I've thought of, and something that is a distinct possibility. I want to know what your thoughts are on some of the other more uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Something that's more conventional. Like I've heard theories that it was a group, like it was netting, and the netting got caught up in something else, and then that made it look like it was swimming through. Like, do you think this thing is alive?
That absolutely looked like a living creature to me. Unless there was some sort of robotics involved, like some Disney quality animatronic, that thing was alive. That was a living, breathing creature.
I agree. Just the way it moved, like things in nature or things that aren't natural, I should say, they just don't move like that. I mean, that has a very fish-like quality to it, the way it kind of, or something that was like serpentine, something that slithers through either land or sea. I've heard some theories, like some people said it might be a sturgeon, and I mean, that's a possibility, I guess, because sturgeons. So when this thing was first reported, it was reported as being 12 to 15 feet. That was back in 2016. The newer reports, the more recent reports in 2026, say that was between 20 to 24 feet long. So I did some research and found out that sturgeons, which I didn't think it was a sturgeon, but sturgeons can grow up to 24 feet long and be like 1,000 pounds. So do you think it's something that we maybe already know about and it's just a huge one of those things? Or do you think it's something that we've never seen before?
Well, as you said, it had a very fish like quality to it. It clearly was not a mammal. That is not how dolphins, whales, orca, polar bears, seals, they don't swim in that way. That almost looked reptilian to me. It was very reminiscent to me of a monster sized crocodile. But the reality is, we have not cataloged every species in our waterways. There are many, many unknowns in this world. We've explored more of outer space than we have our own oceans. So who knows what is hiding out there? And I've seen cases of enormous squid being found. The things that you would have read in books and thought that it was made up, uh, you know, or just strange new species that wash up on shore. Our understanding of the ocean and the species that inhabit it is so limited. So, I look at that and I think, could it be a sturgeon? Sure, it could be, but the possibilities that it could be something more interesting are very intriguing.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. And you're right. Like we do know more about outer space than we do about the floors of our oceans. And speaking of that, there's a prehistoric creature which I've never even heard of. Again, until I started doing a little research on this story, which is called a frilled shark. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a prehistoric. It's an eel. It has like eel-like body, which would lend itself to what we've seen in that video. It has 25 rows of over 300 teeth, 6 pairs of gills, and it has ruffled edges found, and it's usually found at the depths of like 5,000 to 6,000 feet, and it weighs about 300 pounds. So could that be that? It's possible, but again, it's hard to say because we don't know. what's at the floors of our oceans. And like you said, we know more about what's in outer space than we do about what's in the basins, the base of our oceans, the floor of our oceans. So, I mean, is it possible that this thing came from another world and landed here? Or like I said, there's UFOs that appear. There's a ton of UFO sightings in Alaska and in that area particularly. Is it something that you think maybe came from another world, or is it something that maybe we just haven't discovered yet, or is it something that we know about? It's just we've never seen it, so it looks different in the video. What are your thoughts overall on the Alaskan ice monster?
Well, it's interesting that you bring up those frilled sharks, I think you called them, correct? Because
Mm-hmm. Yep.
there are a few deep water shark species that do live in that area. Um, and as you mentioned, they are deep water. They're typically blind. They do not move very fast at all. They can live hundreds of years. And when you see those creatures, you're literally looking at some of the most prehistoric beasts living on our planet today. That video did not show a slow moving, deep water blind animal. The way that that animal moved, it moved with so much elegance. And like you said, it had a slithering appearance to it, or a reptilian appearance to it. So I would probably rule out any deep water sharks as well. Um, could it be alien? I mean, I would not rule that out. It is quite possible that alien life doesn't come from outer space. That it could be already here. It could be what we think of as aliens could actually be terrestrial beings from other parts of our planet where we have not explored. It would be interesting to see if there are any creatures like this, uh, you know, uh, in the South Pole. There's a lot that goes on down there. I don't think we should probably go into that today because I want you to have a successful podcast. I don't want this to get banned by talking about things like that. So we'll just stick to the ice monster. Um, but I would say that, it's clearly alive. It's clearly not a mammal. It's clearly not a deep water shark. Um, it is not something that I would trifle with. I would say it's very large, probably very dangerous. There's not a lot of, you know, sea vegetation. This thing is probably, some sort of carnivore. Hopefully it hasn't gotten a taste of human flesh. I wouldn't want to be near that. We're not particularly tasty to a lot of the ocean animals in that region.
Very true.
Uh, but yeah, I would say it's intriguing, and I would say that perhaps we should go there, go on a venture, see if we can find it.
That would be amazing. So let's rule out. So Occam's razor, the most obvious answer is usually what it is. So people have said it's floating logs. It's a net trapped in a current. There's so many things that say, oh, it's just a man-made thing. It's just a coincidence, so that logic would lend itself to believe that that's not a creature. So you would think that you would say that that's not true. That this thing is definitely alive and it's definitely something that's a living, breathing organism, and it's not just logs and it's not just a net trapped in a current.
No, no, it is none of those things. I believe there's video of it going against the current, in
That's what I
fact.
thought. Yeah. Yep.
So, unless there's some sort of propulsion on it, I don't know how that would be possible.
Right. Yeah, and it moves like something that knows how to move through water. And I don't think that can be a coincidence in nature. I mean, possibly, but I mean, it looks like it knows what it's doing. It knows how to get through a current. It knows how to get through water.
It clearly does. Yes. It's clearly some sort of an aquatic being.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Lee, I want to thank you for joining us and discussing this. And there's some other things I want to talk to you about. I have some other things that we're going to go into down the road. But again, I appreciate your time and thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
This has been a Gnarly vs. Rad television production.